I see that FBI Director Kash Patel is currently trending on Twitter. Now, I wish I was more of a liar. I wish I could lie to you. What I wish I could do is say, what is he doing? Has he publicly announced that the FBI has no info on Epstein, so everyone has to drop it? Unfortunately, I've already clicked on the tab, so I've already seen that is, in fact, exactly why he's trending. I said this the other day, but, like, yes, the FBI has a ton of intel on who kids in Little St. James. No, they won't release it, Republicans or Democrats, because it would implicate a huge number of very powerful, wealthy people who, if they ever went to trial and testified, would then implicate a bunch of other wealthy and powerful people to save their own skin, which means, like, you'd bring the whole system down. So no, the whole thing has to be covered up, right? That's why you have Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell get arrested and, you know, suicided or whatever. And even though you've got a little black book that names hundreds and hundreds of people, like Donald Trump, there are no follow-up investigations. They have the intel, they won't use it. So the Republicans are in a difficult position because they really appeal to the conspiracy-minded, right? Like the Republicans, generally speaking, people who are really conspiratorial are really stupid and impressionable, which is like the main GOP, like that's kind of their writing, right? That's their constituency. But now they have to explain, all right, guys, sorry. I know we misled you for years on this and told you that the Biden FBI was covering it up, but now we're in power and trust us, there's actually no Epstein files. Remember that just the other day, by the way, Pam Bondi was on TV saying that for months, just the other day we saw Pam Bondi on TV saying for months she and her team have been investigating the info they have on Epstein. So they've been kicking this can down the road for a while. Anyway, sure, explain to Joe Rogan how there's actually nothing. How the FBI, the federal government, went to Little St. James, a place where we know for a fact there was child sex trafficking, sex parties, etc., where we know they confiscated enormous amounts of information from a person, Jeffrey Epstein, who fastidiously logged details of his contacts because the way Epstein accrued power was by making connections and blackmailing people, oftentimes, presumably, with evidence of their criminal impropriety, right? Explain to me how after raiding that island, you have no evidence on anyone.
Again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women.
Oh yeah, I bet you're really concerned about that. Yeah, I'm sure. You would definitely refrain from persecuting your political enemies, because you wouldn't want to reopen these cases for the women involved. I'm sure.
We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening.
Woke excuse.
Because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
This is a very professional way for the director of the FBI to talk about this, by the way. Again, director of the FBI. I know he's like a cocaine-addled podcast freak. He's also the director of the FBI. He's not even denying it.
If you have access to it.
If I have it. Period. Right. If I have it. If I have it.
So.
Sniff.
Where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is.
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. That's what takes.
So again, Joe Rogan as a Republican asset is in a tough position here because the idea that the feds don't have anything on Epstein's clients is ludicrous. Nobody actually believes this. His audience of millions of people, conspiracy-minded people, do not believe this. Nobody believes this. But because Joe Rogan's on their payroll, more or less, he can't directly contradict Kash Patel. If this was, for example, Biden's FBI director or any other administration, Joe Rogan would say right now, that's bullshit, dude. We know you're hiding the tapes. Come on. But he can't do that here because, of course, like he's an asset. So they just have to go back and forth on this. They just have to be like, okay, well, like, all right, okay, I guess not. All right, I guess so.
So much damn time.
Right.
And
And is there video from the island?
Not of what you want.
Okay.
The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation.
And I'm like, here's the other thing I've been asking for, right? Openly. If you have information on this, call us. Tell us. The best resource we have is the American people in the world.
Phenomenal. Yeah, call us so we can kill you. You're the FBI! Is the FBI even doing anything at the moment? Like, Kash Patel might be one of the most incompetent people in the administration. At least with, like, RFK Jr. and the Department of Health and Human Services. At least, like, the scientists underneath him can still do what they're allowed to do, like, within the purview of their jobs and the grants they're given and what they're allowed to publish. But with the FBI, I feel like Kash Patel might genuinely all have them, like, picking belly button lint out from under their shirts. I have no idea what they're doing. There's currently a pedophile in the Oval Office. They don't do shit. Yeah, I suppose. The idea that, like, Trump's FBI in particular would release these files when any Epstein files would obviously implicate Trump, like, come on. Nobody's going to believe this, man. I'm sorry, wait. There's a bunch of clips from this.
And as director of the FBI, I have a responsibility. I'm not just going to bring a case because somebody hurt me. They did, and they continue to do it. Shit, my house just got swatted yesterday.
What?
Yeah, but...
What?
You got swatted?
Oh, yeah.
The head of the FBI gets swatted?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Yeah. These people play, it's the ultimate height of hypocrisy. They have two...
I don't for a moment believe that. Not even remotely. Are you fucking kidding me? Swatting is done by local police. You're telling me local police went to the head of the FBI's house because somebody called them and said, bro, there's someone running around here with a chainsaw. He's got hostages. And they showed up with a SWAT team. They did? Oh, no, wait. It doesn't count as a swatting if they call you and clarify. That's not a swatting. That's a swatting call. When you say you got swatted, that means SWAT showed up. Not the police called you and said, hey, we just got a call saying that the head of the FBI was wielding a chainsaw running around with hostages. Come on. Yeah, stolen valor. Come on. What the hell? Patel, 45, became the 9th director of the FBI on February 20th, 2024? Well, at least it wasn't AI written. I think they would have gotten that right.
About fake news. This is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I'm not participating in any of that conversation between Elon
Have
and
a
Trump.
nice day, DJD. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
Yeah. Listen,
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah, they told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy...
It's so cool having a White House where the presidential cabinet acts like a literal streaming house. Director of the FBI is like, dude, I'm not touching that drama. Dude, no. Catch me later playing Valorant, though.
thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
Everybody knows Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Didn't Epstein have like 9 ways of contacting Trump? Like he had like 9 phone numbers for Trump or something like that. It was like, you've got like the cell, and then here's like his houses, and then here's like a butler, and here, yeah. Oh, yes, we know they were best friends, but I mean, like, the best friends thing was alleged by Epstein, which people could say, like, oh, he just said that, even though we know it's true. But, like, Epstein does not have 9 ways of contacting Trump unless they're doing something, okay?
Does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing.
Dude, it's a f***ing streaming house, dude. Jesus Christ. I don't know how he would. Didn't you just say the Epstein files didn't contain any information that implicated the people in it somehow with a thing that nobody believes? You're the FBI. Yeah, you're the FBI director. And now you're like, dude, I don't know. Did he get access to that? Bro, I'm like not even part of this. I'm not involved in this shit, man.
That's way outside my lane.
Are they?
That's way outside my lane. Thank God, dude. Thank fucking God Trump prioritizes loyalty over competence. Unironically, thank fucking God. Oh my God, dude. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine if every department head was as smart and evil as like Stephen Miller, can you imagine? The country, we would already be in actual hell. They would have already built like a Full Metal Alchemist-esque alchemy circle around the country and sent us straight down the ninth circle, okay? Thank God for people like Kash Patel.
Oh, we would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's
dude, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, that's crazy though.
Way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
You were referring to Black Clover, weren't you? No, I was referring to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is why I said Full Metal Alchemist-esque alchemy circle, a thing that features in Full Metal Alchemist, the anime Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, based on the manga Full Metal Alchemist.
I know my lane, and that ain't it.
I just don't. I mean, I understand he owns Twitter.
You are the FBI
I think it's
director.
bad for your mental health.
Ultramethylene blue.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, we were watching an Alex Jones clip. Alex Jones, do you put 20-second ads at the end of clips of other people's content too? That's crazy. I got to get on that. He's such a good businessman. I mean, he's like $1 billion in debt or something, but he's such a good businessman.
With the Hunter Biden laptop story where 51 former intelligence agents testified that this...
Thank you for bringing that up.
Tell me about how crazy that is.
Please, let's talk about Hunter Biden, a relevant figure everyone cares about. Please, anything but the fact that I'm like hiding the pedophile tapes from you.
So you want to talk about the ultimate weaponization and total disinformation combining forces, right? A week before the...
Also, what is he wearing? I know this, I'm not doing a fashion bit. What is he wearing? He's the director of the FBI. It looks like he's wearing some Under Armour like tech, like compression suit or something. Isn't that, like, weird? A little bit? I don't know.
Right? A week before the election when Biden and Trump were running against each other, maybe a week or 2 weeks before that, right? A guy who used to be in the intelligence community.
These people are all such grifters, man. Or not grifters, that's not the right term. They're always on their bag. This has the @MAGA voice watermark just right here in the middle, and it's just a Joe Rogan clip. Like, it's the grind set, dude. Seriously, like I'm slacking.
Community says, "Oh, we got to bring the Hunter Biden laptop thing into play," knowing it was bogus. And they come out and they basically say the FBI, even though knew that Hunter Biden's laptop was a righteous piece of
This is boring as shit. I want to hear more about how you're covering up for Epstein.
Again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize.
Oh no, it's the same bit, I guess. In my opinion, I think that this conspiracy might be too much for a lot of MAGA types to let go. I think that a lot of people in the Joe Rogan orbit are not just going to sit there and go like, okay, guess there was nothing. The past 10 years of speculation have been nothing. Bye-bye. Like, a lot of them already had to swallow the pill that Trump wasn't involved in it somehow. And that's one level, okay? But they do this by enclaving Trump, by selecting him and removing him from the conspiracy. The conspiracy is still there. What Kash Patel is basically saying is, no, there's none. There's no conspiracy. There's nothing there, you know? I think that people are going to take from this, a lot of them, either that Kash Patel is in on it, or that there's like another secret higher level of deep state clearance that he would need to get access to it. It's going to be one of those two. The question will be like whether or not he's in on it. And the answer is he's absolutely in on it. When he was made director of the FBI, he went in and he said, let's do this, guys. All right, Epstein, yeah. And then somebody else in the office walked up to him and they said, hey, can we have a conversation with you in this office with no windows? And they sat him down. They were like, okay, so here's the way the government actually works. All right. Okay. If you release this, the entire administration will collapse. The government will collapse. No one will trust anyone. We have donors who rely on us to keep these systems stable. You cannot do this. So no matter what, you have to say we don't have this intel. We don't burn the intel. We keep it because sometimes we can use it to our advantage. But for the most part, we pretend it doesn't exist. No matter what else happens, you can't rat on this. If you do, we'll kill you and your family and like everyone you've ever loved. And that's it. And that wasn't the deep state talking to him. That was just the FBI. And it's the cleanest line in the world, man. Isn't this all just vague JQing? It's always vague JQing, but the truth that the FBI doesn't prosecute like super wealthy, powerful people when they're known to have committed crimes, that's not like, that's a conspiracy in the technical definition of the word conspiracy, but it's not untrue. That's known to be the case. We know that's true. What kind of clearance would the FBI director not have? There are some things that are kept on more exclusive need-to-know bases than that, but I guarantee you he knows about it. I'm telling you, they have tons of dirt on tons of people over at the FBI that they don't follow through on just because it would just open up so many problems. It wouldn't benefit them. What happens if they open up the books? Well, for one, Trump is gone because Trump is there because Epstein absolutely has like 40 hours of HD footage of Trump kids, okay? So like good luck with that, I guess. You can cut out that information and like only go after the other stuff. But what happens if you implicate and then send to trial like 200 super powerful, wealthy people, politicians, bankers, VCs, whatever, like very well-connected people? It's not just random wealthy people. These were people who were invited to Little St. James. So these would be particularly well-connected people. What happens when they go to trial? Well, they go there up to the stand, and they're asked to testify. They're asked to give their account, and it takes years and years. It's this prolonged process for all of them, and they all do what? They implicate each other, and they implicate more people. It would be senseless. It literally wouldn't. It wouldn't work. It would bring down the fucking government. Sounds great. Yeah, to you and me, not to them. Yeah, it sounds fantastic if you're like a schmuck making $42,000 a year with an outstanding car payment. It doesn't sound great if you run the government. I wish they would get exposed. They never, ever will. There is no administration that would allow that. The only administration that would allow that information to be like publicly disclosed would either be one far enough in the future that everyone implicated is dead, or would be one that is so revolutionarily opposed to the system as it exists today that they would be willing to do something that disruptive. Yeah, Bernie would not do that. Absolutely not. Bernie would have? No, he wouldn't have. Because Bernie would have had a conversation at some point, and it would have been like, listen, you can do this and basically guarantee that your administration gets nothing done ever. Nothing will get done. You will not get a single bill passed. You will not get any legislation. Nobody will obey your commands. It'll be over. The government will cease functioning. Everything will stop. Or you let this one slide and you get people their free healthcare. And he would probably choose the free healthcare. Just a guess. International human trafficking is not something you let slide. Hold on, you're not, wait, I just need to be clear because of the language of some people in chat. I'm not saying that's good. I'm only explaining why the info didn't come out, okay? Epstein's impropriety has been known through multiple presidential administrations. It was known through Clinton, certainly. He was there on the island. We all know that, right? Then you've got Bush. Why didn't Bush use it against Clinton? Because Bush's friends were there too. Why didn't Obama use it against anyone? Because Clinton and Clinton's friends and everyone. It's not a, it's a bipartisan issue. And it's not just an American issue too. Keep that in mind, okay? Epstein did power brokering like across borders, okay? It would implicate people in Britain and France and Italy and Germany and Israel and Mexico and Canada. A ton of people would get wrapped up in it. And there would be people, envoys from other governments saying, listen, I know you want to be the good guy in this one. I know the FBI has got a lot of bad intel on us, okay? But like, you don't want to do this. This will cause an international incident. I'm not saying any of this is good. I'm just explaining like this was the point of what Epstein did. He wasn't just a random sex trafficker. Sex traffickers get arrested all the time. They're just criminals. They get arrested. They get put in jail forever. Maybe they get stabbed to death in jail. I don't know. Yeah, he was the king of pedophiles. Epstein, a very powerful sex trafficker. What's the psychology of rich people liking kids? Look, you can get into like broad speculation to the point of like, well, maybe once you're a billionaire, you're just evil anyway. But I think that in Epstein's case, it was a weapon that he used deliberately to entrap people. So you have like dual effects of a lot of these people are already fucked up. And then also Epstein wants dirt on these people because that is literally how he built his power base, right? Because once Epstein has dirt on you, you have to be his friend, right? That's the whole point. So yeah, I think part of it is the fact they feel untouchable. They feel like they can get away with anything. A lot of them have no care for like the happiness of other people, right? But a lot of it was also like Epstein took advantage of that in an effort to build up his own relations, which, I mean, he did, clearly. I mean, he was very successful at being a power broker, and that's the reason why, even after his death, he is so powerful that nobody can go after him. Question, if Epstein died, why didn't his dead man switch activate? He probably had one that would activate under some conditions, but honestly, my guess is that he just didn't want everyone who was associated with him being super paranoid all the time. Like, think about it. What if Epstein died of a heart attack, like a regular heart attack, okay? And then suddenly the news breaks, Epstein dead, and every person who ever went to Little St. James suddenly goes, holy shit, I've got to run. And everyone flees the country because all of them think that they're about to have intel dropped in them. It would be destabilizing. Arrangements like this have existed for a long time in like criminal circles, right? It's not new to Epstein. I'm just saying, like, you know, that's why this is going to continue being one of the big. Look, maybe if you guys live to 90, you'll be around when eventually this stuff gets declassified. But I wouldn't expect that to happen anytime soon. Why would that matter to him if he's a goner anyway? Well, it would matter to the people associated with him, who he also had to work to appease in order to maintain his relations with them, right? Like, he was very wealthy. If he wants, like, it's not all blackmail. Like, it's tit for tat. It's favor exchanges, right? It's also possible that whenever somebody, or when he was spoken to in his cell, in that conversation, he did provide some information that would have allowed for, you know, him to sort of die quietly, as opposed to it being an issue, you know, any kind of like dead man switch activation. But that's all speculation. I have no idea, of course. I do know the FBI has implicating Epstein docs. That is true, though. That is definitely true. Can somebody leak the FBI files, maybe? They would be killed, for sure. Much like the person who dropped the Panama Papers was killed. Can't a MAGA judge force the FBI to release the files? No. Also, they wouldn't do that. That would be insane, but no. And a judge can't randomly just decide that the FBI needs to release a bunch of suspected information. That's not within their power. Can one still hack the FBI? I guarantee you none of this information is held digitally on internet accessible devices. 100%. If they're holding any of that information, it is in boxes. It's on paper, it's analog. In a vault. Yeah. Anyway, I strongly encourage everyone to keep up the Epstein conspiracism, because it is incredibly funny to see Kash Patel go up there after like an entire career encouraging conspiracism and just go like, I don't know what you want me to say, dude. I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, there's actually nothing. Yeah, trust me, the FBI somehow didn't get anything. No, you can't see it. But yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, don't like bother us about this, okay? Like, it's pretty funny.
Progressive Victory has officially endorsed MAMDANI for New York City mayor. With the race so close, a single phone call really means life or death here. Progressive Victory is officially endorsing Ras Baraka for governor. He's the mayor from Newark who was arrested by ICE about 3 or 4-ish weeks ago. If there was ever a governor who was really going to stand up to the Trump administration, it's going to be Baraka.
We are in a bit of a down spot right now, but this is the planted seed of potentially a new movement. The Democratic Party is useless. You want these new people, these non-DNC insiders, to work together, because this is the spark that can be cultivated into meaningful opposition.
These are winnable races that will have a massive effect on the country. We are doing phone banks every single day, and we're also going to be canvassing this upcoming Sunday in New Jersey for Baraka. I want to see you joining this PV Discord server, or else, again, you're gonna go to hell. We are creating membership cards for all of our dues-paying members, and we'll be shipping them out. Get that Progressive Victory membership cards. They look awesome. I've seen the prototypes. I'm hoping to see a lot of you in the Discord server.
The opportunity is right here in front of you, okay? I don't want to hear any whining. You can make a difference. I mean that sincerely.